Welcome to the Planet Paintball Podcast, the ultimate podcast for paintball enthusiasts. Each week, we dive into the world of paintball, bringing you stories, insights, and tips from players, coaches, and industry insiders. Sponsored by 1023 Sportswear. Looking for high-quality gear that performs as hard as you do? Check out 1023 Sportswear. And as a listener of the Planet Paintball Podcast, you can get 20% off your order with the code PLANETPaintball. Suit up, save big, and play your best.
All right. Welcome back to the Planet Paintball Podcast, your podcast for divisional play. Today I have Travis from Maxt in Havoc with me from Texas, based out of X Factor Paintball Park. How did you start playing paintball?
So I started, I think like most people as a kid, playing with friends. I grew up in Michigan and I had a field that opened up pretty close to me, as well as a school team. We actually had a school team in Michigan that played out of a field called Team Colors in Michigan. So I started playing as a kid, played in my backyard. I had, tiger sharks and all kinds of stingrays and different Brass Eagle products back when Brass Eagle was a thing. Shout out to the All-Stars, RIP. Then obviously moving into all the different types of guns, playing more seriously. Speedball came out somewhere along the way, and I got hooked on that pretty quickly. Took a little hiatus to join the Navy, and then picked up other interests, and family grew, and all those things went through the family phase. Found myself bored and needing adrenaline, and joined paintball again here just about 3 years ago. I started playing again, so I took quite a big break, and then came back to it, I think like most people do. I've been playing since I was a kid with all my friends in the backyard and just got addicted.
Awesome. So 3 years ago, that's about the time I started playing competitively again. I had played a lot in between, little breaks, if you will. So you mentioned Stingray. So are you a 1999 guy, 2000?
Yep, all in the 90s. I think 98, 99, somewhere around there is when I first played. Somewhere in that time frame.
Okay. Michigan was kind of a hotbed for a while there.
It was. It was really, really popular growing up. And within where I lived is in like the middle of nowhere, Michigan. If, for Michiganders, it was right here. It's called Ludington. It's the westernmost point of the lower peninsula of Michigan. Beautiful spot. Many more things to do other than paintball there. Actually, paintball is non-existent there anymore, which is sad. But growing up, there was like 4 fields within 15 minutes. My church youth group had a paintball field at our church, which is also no longer there, neither the church or the paintball field. But on Sundays after youth group, we used to play at church, all woods ball stuff. And then we had another field just about a mile away on the nose from where I lived. Pretty good bike ride if my parents didn't feel like dropping me off. And a few other fields just within 30 minutes. So we had 4 fields within 30 minutes growing up, and now they are no more. Michigan kind of went away from the paintball scene a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of them dried up, unfortunately. But man, that must have been nice growing up, being able to walk if need be.
Yeah, I remember riding down, there was like a 2-lane highway, and I think it's 60 miles per hour. And me and my hooligan friends on our BMX bikes, like one guy standing on pegs, the other guy driving with $10 in our pocket to get 500 paintballs, and like just hope that they'd let us on the field. Like this is all we got, dude. We, mowed the yards. Dad's gone. There's no cash anywhere stashed in the house, or like I spent it on something stupid at the gas station the day before. Like I just need 500 paintballs, and we would make that last. Or we'd go to Meijer, is like a big store in the north. I don't know what you have in the Carolinas. Probably like Food Lion, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like a Food Lion plus additional outdoor stuff, and they have clothes and things like that. They used to sell paintballs there, and they would sell the Brass Eagle paintball packs that you could buy in 200. They came in like the plastic case.
Remember them well.
Yeah, man, those things stunk. But we used to just go and ride and get those. If we couldn't make it to the field or pay entry at the field, we would just play at home. Nice. Using the 12-gram CO2 things.
Yeah, when I first started playing, the big cups you get at baseball stadiums? I had filled one of those up with cash and literally went up to the field house and put it on the counter and said, how much will that get me? Yeah. Just a little bit more, please.
Oh man, and paint was expensive then too.
Yeah. Like $120 for pro ball down here, at least at the time.
Same.
So
Yeah, you could get the like white box and just hope that it didn't break or that it shot relatively straight. For $70,
yeah,
60, $70. But if you were getting anything of Marbleizer quality or RPS or anything like that, you were going to pay $100.
yeah, easily. Yeah.
Yep. Those were the days. That's the one good thing about new paintball, like coming back into it. I think paint prices and the quality of the fields that they have now, as well as some of the other gear like hoppers, are just, it's like night and day. I can take my hopper apart and clean it right here mid-tournament. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's really nice. No longer need the screwdriver.
Yeah, or 3 or 4 backup hoppers, right?
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
So did you play competitively before your break, or?
I did. Yeah, I played competitively. I used to play on a team called MCM Short Bus. It was out of Baton Rouge. So I moved from Michigan and then moved down to Louisiana in high school. And all of my friends were paintball hooligans as well. We just connected at school like naturally. Like I couldn't even explain how we all met each other. I met one guy who was interested in paintball. I think I was reading a paintball magazine, sitting, waiting for class to start, and he talked to me about it. His name's Matt Dozier and Brent Dozier. And I kind of started talking to them. They played with a bunch of people who are now the Hurricanes. So played out of a field there. It was called MCM Paintball, and then Wildwood Paintball. And those are both no longer anymore either. The store, MCM Paintball, was the biggest paintball store in Baton Rouge. I think it was one of the only ones. And I played with them for a team called MCM Short Bus. And then we had another team called Bo Jackson All Stars. I was reading a book called Bo Knows Bo, and great book if you haven't read it. And very interesting character, Mr. Bo Jackson. And so we became the Bo Jackson All Stars, and we played the Gulf South Series, Mardi Gras Open, a couple other things.
But you got to play like real Mardi Gras Open then. Yeah, Mardi Gras.
It was awful. And then we played a whole bunch of stuff, but all in the Gulf South. Abby's Paintball up in Shreveport. There's another field in Louisiana, and kind of all over the South, which was definitely different than in the North. Paintball in the South was different.
Yeah. Okay, so you played with them for a while. You take your break, you come back looking for that adrenaline itch. How quickly from coming back to like playing organized tournaments did it take?
So I went out to the field. I was bored, and my son and I went out to the field. I found a field called Outlaw Paintball, which is about 55 to an hour from where I live in Pflugerville, Texas, here just north of Austin. And so we went, and I was like, man, I'll go take a look. And I found Austin Notorious was out there. They had just won the semi-pro at World Cup. And so they had all the signs up and people were amped up. There's probably 50 people at Outlaw Paintball. And I just went to go look. I was like, let me just go see what this field is all about. Show my son what paintball is, kind of, reminisce on the glory days of paint in my mind. I went out there. I was like watching the guys. I was like, oh, I could still do this. I'm like watching them. I was like, I think I could still do this. And they were having tryouts. Austin Notorious was having tryouts the week or two after that. I met up with a really awesome guy. His name's Brad Bourne. And he was there. He saw me looking like I was lost. And he was like, hey, what's going on? He was really nice to my son. And we started chatting, and he was telling me about the new Shocker, which was the Shocker amp at the time, and let me shoot it a little bit. And we get chatting, and we hit it off really well. And I was like, shit, I got to get back into this. The bug came back like that. There was no delay. So about a week later, Austin Notorious was having tryouts. I tried out for them, and then met up with the group of people who we all now still play together under Maxt Havoc, which is the Maxt factory teams. It was like a week. I bought a gun, gear. My wife was like, okay, I guess you're playing paintball now. I was like, yeah, I'm back into it. And I felt like a baby giraffe on ice, man. I was so rusty. It was awful. It was so ugly. I felt completely uncoordinated and like I had never played before. It was horrendous.
Yeah, and it's rough after coming back from a break.
I was like, man, my back doesn't bend the same way. Like my feet are doing weird things. Did I just turn around and load my pod with my back to the bunker? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's rough.
It was rough, but it took, a couple months of just getting shot, and I was like, all right, let's get back into this. So
Yeah, you just got to knock off the rust, right? And the IQ's still there, which I think's the important part.
yes, that part felt good. The communication was like easy. That was all easy, but my movements and like sliding, I felt totally out of place for a couple months before I was like, all right, as things started to click after a little while, movement became more fluid and didn't stop from there. So
What was your first like tournament gun?
Shocker 4x4 was probably my first tournament gun. I guess, no, autococker, I guess, is my first tournament gun.
Okay,
And then, so my first non-electric tournament gun was an autococker.
nice.
Then I had Shocker 4x4. I had an Angel at one point. It was a Dark Angel, all chrome. It was pretty sweet. Wish I still had it.
Yeah.
I was, because I worked at the shop, which was called MCM Paintball, I hung out there and I worked. I was like a paintball store kid. I was just always in the back, like tinkering with things, going through old parts. I would trade up and trade down guns. I'd like get an Ion and sell it and get something else. And like, I was just bartering all the time. I was like a paintball store kid. Even in high school, I would like sometimes just skip school and go and hang out at the paintball store because all my friends were there and they all had like real jobs, which I thought was big money. And I was like, man, I don't want to go to class. I don't want to go to algebra, bro. I got to watch this new freaking Dirter film or whatever came out. It was, so I was always shooting something different. I never stuck to like one platform, which is totally different now that I'm old. I stick to like one platform. If I buy one type of gun, my backup gun is going to be the same gun.
Yeah. It's weird how that changes, huh?
If I would have just known that a long time ago, I would.
Yeah. I never got into the flipping of the guns, but I also was a paintball shop kid. Oh yeah. So the podcast is named for the field I kind of grew up in, playing a paintball, and managed it for a while, worked there under a couple different owners, but like always in the shop.
It had a store plus a field all on the same property.
Yeah, at one point it did. Well, actually in both iterations. So we started indoor, which was intense for the time, like close quarters, rock music blaring. So it was everything 13-year-old me wanted. And the old guys, which now I realize are like 20, 22, treated me like one of their own. So that kind of hooked me in for sure, outside of just the game being addictive. But we were always blessed to have a shop at the indoor. And then when we moved outdoors, we had it was this old house on 30 acres. And you're from the South, or you live in the South now. So the shotgun houses, it was an old shotgun house that we put a wall in the middle of, and that became the pro shop. And behind it was the rentals and all that stuff. So many a days and nights fixing rental guns. Yeah.
Ones are not in this era, but you have one that you like reflect back on fondly. And it's like that. I wish I still had that gun. If you don't still have it.
Yeah, I still have. So I hoarded most of my stuff. So I still have my original 1999 autococker, which is now a pump. But the one that I wish would still work was I went from that to a Bushmaster. Like their first electronic Bushmaster, if you remember those things. Yep. They brought that Bushmaster up and a Rainmaker up from Cup that year back to the field. So a buddy had bought it, and then he had traded up to something else, and he was always flipping guns, and I was like, let me get that Bushmaster from you. So I wish that one still worked just to have fun with. But
oh, you're good, man. I got them too. No worries. I remember Bushmaster, Rainmaker, Phantom pumps. I wish I still had a Phantom pump. That would be the one. I mean, I'm sure I can get them somewhere. You got minis, mini mags and all that. That was an interesting paintball time.
Yeah, it was like customizing a car, man. That was the coolest part about it to me.
You're totally right. I had on my Shocker 4x4 the regulator went out, and I told you my buddy Matt, who got me into the Louisiana paintball scene, him and his dad played for an outdoor scenario team called Swamp Donkeys, which is a crazy name. It was like 40 old guys who camped out, drank a few beers, and played paintball, right? And they had a banner. It was a whole thing. They played out of a place called Paintball Command in Louisiana, which is still around. And Swamp Donkeys might be still around for all I know. I haven't touched scenarios in a long time. But speaking of like modifying your stuff and kind of just making it work, my regulator blew out of the bottom, and they used epoxy and metal flakes and sealed it back up at the field so I could get through playing with it. Wow. It was like 5-minute epoxy, like JB Weld, that they mixed up. They put metal flakes in there. They're like, oh, that'll go into the cracks of the threads and it will hold it. And I was like, you guys are crazy. It worked. It actually worked.
It worked out.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Yeah. People used to do mod their guns out. You don't get much of that, just different colorways now.
Yeah. So that's what I miss the most, I think, about the older times, is just seeing everyone's gun was different. So it's just not that unique anymore. They're great. They're way better.
Yeah. Oh, not knocking it. I don't want to go back.
No.
That's for sure. Yeah. Don't take me back, but still, yeah, it was good to reflect on, for sure.
So what did you find as your home for shooting now?
So I mentioned I met Brad Bourne at Outlaw Paintball, my first day going and just exploring kind of paintball again. He let me shoot the amp, so I bought it. I bought the Shocker amp, so I bought a couple of them as a backup gun just to have. And then when the Era came out, I got the Era as well. And I have a TM, so all Lux. I went with the entire Lux platform, which makes sense because Austin Notorious, RIP Austin Notorious, now Tauntaun FSU. Austin Notorious was a Lux team. So everybody shot Luxes. I had a TM40, but I almost never shoot it. I mainly just shoot my Shocker Era. And this year I'll be switching here at some point in the near future.
Yeah, it's funny how the pro teams, if you have a pro team or the highest team in your area, kind of dictates what everyone shoots.
Yeah, totally. And it's difficult in Texas because there are so many pro teams.
Yeah.
Everybody is shooting something. You got Houston Heat, which was Lux, Austin Notorious, Lux, X Factors, Planet Eclipse, right? Paintball Fit, Planet Eclipse, AC Diesel, Lux. So they all kind of shoot a little bit something different depending on what field you're at. I think those two groups, Planet Eclipse and then the Lux or DLX Technologies, kind of own the market share here in Texas between those two.
Yeah. It's kind of cool though. Like, it's part of the culture, the local scene when you get into it, especially if you're traveling somewhere and they got something different.
Yeah.
So you got on Notorious, big farm system. Like, that's a huge system to be in. How was that?
It's very interesting. So it was a lot. It was a lot of people. We had D5 teams. We had 2 or 3 D4 lines, one of which won NXL and like 2 or 3 of the USXBLs in Bunkerfest. They just went crazy one year. So their D4 line went crazy. They bumped up to D3 the following year. I think that was last year or 2 years ago. And the overall atmosphere was awesome because there was so many great people. It was just booming. It has diminished a little bit. There's not as many players. Obviously, the organization has taken a different direction with Tauntaun FSU. They merged with the Tauntauns, and then it's just one of the pro players from Austin Notorious who's left, which is Marky Franz, and his dad owns the whole organization, Mark Franz. And so it was interesting. I got really close with them. I helped out at all the NXL events. I thought, kind of being older in a different position than I was as a kid, scrounging just to play. I'm in a different position now where kind of building it up, hanging out with the people is as much of the focus as it is paintball. Paintball is one part, but the people are equal part, if not more. I really dove in with the organization. I helped run and create the website and do a lot of the stuff with the organization itself. It was good. It has changed since they've rebranded, and things have just kind of slowly been tapering off a little bit. And like anything, when something gets so big, it becomes chaotic and difficult to manage. And I think that is a natural progression of any big organization that grows really fast. So they won semi-pro, they go pro, they stay pro. That whole time they're attracting talent because you have the pro label on your organization's name. And unfortunately, which no fault, I'm not casting shade or anything like this, I would be doing the same thing. If I created Austin Notorious and I built that team over time, I would not want to relinquish any control at all. So as it grew and people needed things, it becomes more difficult to manage by yourself. That also happened. We had a little bit of that happening just with team ownership. It was a little chaotic. That chaos drove a lot of people away, including our line, which is now Maxt Havoc. We still love those guys. Wish them all the best. Go out and share a coffee with them anytime. No problem. But the organization outgrew itself a little bit. And so now I think they have one D3 line maybe and like one D5 line.
Okay.
So it was very big. It was a big farm team and not so much anymore.
Yeah, they can and the Carolinas were kind of known for a little bit of having big farm teams, and they can be unruly and hard to manage.
They can be. I thought your question on your last podcast was a good one. I think you were talking to the Razorbacks when you asked about team management. Does everybody do everything, or is one person solely responsible? I thought that was a really good question because, and you also asked another great question around how are the pro pits, and the answer was very calm, very mellow, very organized, right? Which is completely different, as you know, than divisional pits. Yeah. Well, those teams at the top level that are top 5 teams, the top tier teams, have a great infrastructure to support. There's somebody that does entry. There's somebody that books the house. There's somebody that does rental cars. There's somebody that's making sure all the gear is good. Paint is ready. Players are in the right mindset that they make it there safely. It's multi-level. That's probably something that's learned. And then I also see those pro teams aren't big farm teams.
No.
Like, let's just go through them. X Factor. X Factor doesn't have a big farm team. It's like X Factor. They stay to X Factor. They have the park. They're there. They help out all the players at the park, but you're not X Factor, right? You are whoever you are.
You're your own thing.
Own team. Houston Heat, not a big farm team. Paintball Fit, not a big farm team. There's not, like, the teams that are in that top tier. When you look at the NXL top 10, most of them don't have big farm teams. They focus on being pro. Maybe that's happening with now Tauntaun FSU. They don't have as many people, but they changed their team and their roster pretty seriously.
Yeah, it's a pretty big overhaul.
Maybe it's a natural progression that we're seeing, but overall it's kind of Austin Notorious is moving away from being that big farm team in the area.
So Notorious is still around though as a organization.
It is around, just with kind of I think 1D3.
And so you guys started your own thing, 2 lines, a little bit easier to steer and have vision for.
It is, most definitely.
Who kind of made like the first leap, or was it like a group decision?
Always a group decision. So there wasn't some sort of uprising or anything like that to go and overthrow and leave the team. We actually talked about it more than a year ago, and we were planning on making the jump last season, but we stuck it out for one more season under the Notorious umbrella. And then this year I've been traveling around with Charles Dean from Maxt. He's the owner of Maxt Paintball. He lives 20-ish minutes away from where I do in Texas. And I traveled. We actually drove to all the NXL events together. So he let me ride with him. I helped set up the tent and get the merchandise ready and all that stuff. We became really good friends outside of paintball. And he had shown interest in wanting a factory team, and kind of the stars aligned. We were like, well, we've been wearing Maxt for 3 seasons, and he wants a factory team. We know him well. We're good friends. We love the apparel, right? And he's always worked with us. He's always been there no matter what we needed. And it was just a really good alignment, a great fit for both Charles and for us. So we took the leap and went out under a new umbrella with the same squad. It's the same gang, new name.
Nice. That makes it easier when you aren't rebuilding. For sure.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we were recording or not, but Maxt is going to play the Nationals, right? And then Havoc will be playing the more regional events.
That's right. So for D4, we're playing US XBL, which is just here in Texas, split between three different fields. They're playing out of Paintball Fit, they're playing out of Giant Party Sports, and then out of X Factor. So it's that's where all the events will be this year, just local to Texas. It's about a 3-hour drive for most of us in any direction, any of those directions.
So Mike Hidman's league out there, right? Last year?
We did. We played USXBL last year. I think we got 6th or 7th overall in the series, got 2nd place at one event, 6th place at another. The last event we won't talk about. If people want to look it up on PB Leagues, then go ahead. I won't mention that.
It happens to the best of us, man.
Experience. So, yeah, we had a good season last year in D4, but we didn't make it to where we want to go. So we collectively, just like we have on every decision that we make as a group, we make it as a group, kind of go to a vote and discuss. And we always make decisions in person, which is one of my favorite things about our group. We don't even do it virtually. Like, we will meet up and as if we were like signing the Constitution or something.
I like that, though.
We'll drive and we'll talk about things in person. It makes it much more real. So anyways, we decided to stay D4 this year. We did not want to go D3. We weren't going to play nationally. We want to really focus on USXBL only. It's good for everybody and their families. We've got a mixed crew at different stages in their life, and this made it possible for everyone. However, there was still interest from Maxt to play nationally. Since we're going to be there, being Maxed, we're going to also play D3 at NXL. So that's why we kind of bifurcated the lines up and went D3 and D4.
Nice. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So you brought up the question, how do you guys split the organizational stuff amongst the teammates?
So our captain is Cody Kipp. He is anything that is practice related, on the field, calling the lines, game time stuff. He's our guy, right? People naturally follow him. I don't know if you have people in your life like that are just like, they have a natural draw and people will follow them. That's Cody.
Yeah, magnets.
He's a magnet, and he's fair and he's open. He's a great leader. Even though he will not tell you he's a great leader, he's also humble, unless, depending on how he plays that week, sometimes, gets up out of his humble zone, but usually he's earned that. He's a great guy. He's a great leader. So any on-field stuff, that's all Cody. When it comes to the back-end things, kind of peopling and preparing for a tournament, that's where I come in as far as managing. Usually find an Airbnb for us, getting the paint ready. I'm like a paint scientist. So paint management I love it. I'm fascinated with it.
Man.
It is super crucial, and I will send a picture of our paint management system to you, but we literally have an electric cart with electric coolers.
I think I saw you guys at Cup and didn't realize it.
Her name is Mary Poppins. So she's got the umbrella. Actually, a guy down here in Texas named her Mary Poppins because he's like, it's got an umbrella like Mary Poppins. I was like, what a great name. So she's the MP3000, Mary Poppins 3000. That's our paint management system, and we take it really serious. So that kind of stuff, getting the connections, helping set up for the event and paint management, that's all in my arena. And when it comes into we will alternate jobs, whether it's cleaning pods or getting guns ready. Everybody pitches in. Nobody is sitting. There's not a single person on our line that we have to be like, oh, there's so-and-so not filling pods again. Or there's this person late to the field. It doesn't happen. Everybody chips in, whether that's, I was gone for this first registration for USXBL as an example. One of my teammates, Tanner Pagel, awesome dude. He stepped in and he made sure that we got entered. So he took care of entry. Cody took over making sure the roster was good. We all just chip in. Some defined jobs, but really everybody's here to help.
Nice. That makes life easier for sure.
Many hands make for light work.
Yeah. Rocking with Maxt. We already went through this. Well, tell us all the sponsors. We didn't do that on the recording.
Yeah, no worries. So our primary sponsor, we are the Maxt factory team. There's only one, and that's us. And we feel very honored for that. So Maxt is our primary sponsor, supplying all of our soft goods. We don't have a gun sponsor. Shoot what you want. That's one of the things I like about Maxt is like you don't have to have a triad and shoot a specific gun, that kind of stuff. I like having the freedom to shoot what I want. And so we don't have a gun sponsor, and we will shoot the best paint. Whatever paint is the best, we'll shoot it. So no paint sponsor either. The other sponsor I have a media business that is doing websites, videos called Media Pros 365. That's our other sponsor. And then, of course, our new home. We previously played out of Outlaw Paintball Park, but we have migrated to X Factor Paintball Park, which is just north of San Antonio in a little town called Bracken, but it's pretty much San Antonio. And so that's our home field. So we have 3 sponsors this year, and that's it.
Nice. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
And no gun sponsorship I think it's the way to go for divisionals.
Agreed. Shoot what you want, whatever you're most comfortable with.
Yeah, people spend a lot of money on their setups, and then they can join a team and have to get a complete other setup, and then you got to do I'm going to buy and then I got to sell dance, and that's never fun for fun.
And hopefully you like it.
Yeah. That's the other big thing, right? Like, hopefully you like it and it gels with you.
There's a lot to it. When I first shot the TM40, I was like, man, this thing shoots funky. Like, it was just like a different, looking down the barrel, it had a different kick. Like the angle was different looking down the barrel. So I had to get used to that. Shooting Planet Eclipse is different than shooting a Shocker. They all shoot a little different, even the Geo R5 versus the CS3. They're just a little different, and you got to pick what you like and be comfortable. I'd rather have somebody be comfortable in getting kills than looking great and we all match. Just please shoot people so they don't shoot me. That's the only goal.
So when does your USBXL season start?
Our first one is in March. Maybe it's April. I think it's March. I forget the date. Both the NXL is first, and then right on its heels, like 2 weeks later, so it's got to be in March, is USXBL. And so they're both in the same month. Beginning of the month is NXL, end of the month is USXBL.
Gonna be a busy month for you.
That is a busy one.
So I guess like you're gearing up for like in-season practices essentially.
We've already started. So we've had scrimmage days already. Our first official practice was a few weeks ago where we had both the D3 and D4 squad at X Factor. It was really introductory. I wouldn't call it like a 2-day grind session with drills and conditioning and situational type stuff. We went out there and played loose, but we played a ton of points. We shot a lot of paint and we had a great time, talked it all over, moved people around and kind of assessed. We have 2 younger guys on our team, Ryan and Caleb, who are really good friends. They've played with us in the past as well. They didn't play with us last season, but they played with us previously and they're coming on this year. We know them. We've played with them for a long time, pretty much every weekend. And so we're mixing them in different spots, but we're already gearing up this week. This weekend, we have another scrimmage scheduled, so we'll just keep on scrimmaging new teams and keep grinding, getting ready.
Nice. So for other people around the U.S., kind of explain like how a scrimmage works down in Texas for you guys. Like, do you rent out a field or how does all that go?
Great question. So X Factor has 3 speedball fields, plus, of course, all of their woods ball stuff and recreational play fields, which are also a lot of fun. So my son and I like going out there and playing on those. He's starting to drift over to speedball, but they have 3 speedball fields. Actually, we'll be running on all 3 of those. So there is one person who organizes the scrimmages at X Factor, Sasha Zucker. He's the guy who helps coordinate the scrimmages for us. And then other times teams will just reach out to you and be like, hey, on this date, do you want to scrimmage our D3 line or our D4 line? Or we have, as an example, Jesse Stevens from AC Diesel is playing XTPL with another team. They reached out and they're like, hey, do you want to play our D4 line plus Jesse Stevens? And we're like, sure. Yeah, we'll throw on. Yeah, of course. Like, let's go. And so it's both formal and informal. We do have a formal way of doing it, which is through Sasha. He kind of coordinates everything. And then an informal way, which is teams just reaching out to each other and saying, let's get together and run points against each other. We pick a field, and sometimes we rotate. Each of the fields usually have a different layout.
That's nice.
So
Nice.
it is. So we'll kind of rotate fields. We'll go play 10 points over here, and then on field 3, and then we'll go to field 1 and play 10 points over there. But we just keep playing against the same people, or same team at least.
Gotcha. So how does the USPX? My gosh, I'm gonna butcher Mike's league. It is a lot of letters. How does that compare to the national events?
There is a ton of talent in that league. So WCPPL is like the pinnacle of divisional paintball outside of NXL, right? There's a ton of teams, hundreds of teams. West Coast, they just have a lot of paintball players there. It's huge. California's massive, draws all the West Coast people. USXBL is doing that for Central United States, and even some people, we're getting teams from Florida, Arizona. They're coming here and playing in Texas for divisional leagues instead of going out to WCPPL or in addition to WCPPL. So compared to NXL, the talent is very good. I would call it the same level of talent that you get at NXL. The difference is you see the same people almost every week. So all of the top 5 teams that came out of USXBL last season, we see at every field we go to, whether it's Paintball Fit, Giant Party Sports, Wasteland, which is down north of Houston, awesome park. They have the best turf in Texas, without a doubt. It is like, I just want to go live there because their turf is so nice. It's almost too nice. You feel bad getting paintballs on it. So Wasteland Paintball Park is a great place. They have good squads down there. And then X Factor, all of the top 5 teams came out of those area. And so we see them all the time. And so the talent is good. And then you see them go over, and of course, like the Titans did good this year. Mm-hmm. They're right out of X Factor. So the divisional talent is as good as the national talent. And we're even seeing some of that divisional talent take it to the national level and do really well too. So I would call it just as good and a lot more familiar.
Okay. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad at the familiar part. So sometimes the team just has your number when you faced them so many times.
2 years ago, there's a team called Texas Knockout, and they had our number. I don't know what it was. Like, we would play them other times and play some of their people and we would win. But this one team, and we finally broke that streak. They're a great team too. They play out of Paintball Fit, and a really, really good group of people. And you're right. Some teams just have your number sometimes. And we like to be that team for other people too.
Yeah. It's fun when you are that team. For sure. No. I mean, Texas has just blown up the last 10 years. And you said you came in 3 years ago, but what do you think about the Texas paintball scene culture that has allowed that? Because it's an insane amount of pro teams and very good and very high divisional talent in the area.
The biggest difference coming back into paintball is that the people are so much nicer. It's hang on, wait, we're not fighting them in the middle of a scrimmage. We're just playing paintball. That's cool. Wait, I'm not getting overshot. That's nice. Coming back into paintball, everybody's so chill. And that's the biggest difference. It doesn't matter what field you go to in Texas, even if you're wearing a different team jersey. I haven't been to one where I don't feel welcome. Even just as an example, Titans, I was wearing my Notorious stuff and Titans let me run points with them getting ready for World Cup. My team was playing down there. I went a day early. They let me run with them. Same thing up at Paintball Fit and getting ready. We had a throw together team that most of the people lived closest to Paintball Fit. Go up to Paintball Fit. The whole family is super nice. And everybody there didn't treat you like a stranger. It doesn't feel like there's outsiders. It's not cliquey. You see, when you walk around a Texas paintball field like X Factor in the morning, people got coffees in their hands and they're hugging each other, not grimacing and flipping people off. It's it's like a warm and welcoming, inviting place. Of course, you still have your scuffles, and there are always exceptions to the rule. You have your people who are not super nice, but those people get weeded out pretty fast, and you kind of see them disappear from where all the good folks are most of the time. So it's really welcoming, really great place.
Awesome. Have you got to do Nightball yet?
I have not done Nightball. I want to.
I'm so jealous. I I need to. I just need to take a trip just for Nightball.
I haven't played, so I've done Nightball. I haven't done the glow in the dark Nightball. So I've played under the lights at Paintball Fit, but I haven't played the glow ball, which I don't know if I didn't. I guess maybe I should have clarified. I don't know which one you were asking about.
Either one, it looks awesome.
I've played Nightball. It's just hopper ball, so you pay a flat rate and you don't wear a pack. You get a hopper. So they just keep refilling paint caddies, and everybody stands in like what is essentially chicken coops. That's what it feels like behind the start box, and it's first 5 on the box and go. And you've got 1 hopper. So you're running an insane amount of points with people you don't know. Talk about communication drills. You're like, hey, they're in the Cobra. They're like, what's the Cobra? You're like, oh, back right. Sorry. You just learn how to communicate. So pretty cool. Flat rate, all you can shoot paint, as many points as you can play, no pods. The glow ball tournaments, I haven't done that yet, which is...
Yeah, they're doing some neat things over there. That's for sure. So you come from like what I would call the old school. Have you done any of the classic events yet?
I've not done any classic events. I was going to play ICPL or whatever it's called here recently and had too many scheduling conflicts. Couldn't make it happen, but it would be fun to play. I'd like to.
They're a blast. Yeah. I haven't done one of the ICPLs yet, but I did Mounds at Cup the last 2 years. We have the CFOA 10-man here, and then we have a 5-man retro. I giggle when I get to shoot someone with a mechanical gun.
That is another cool thing about new technology is they still have, you can buy them with mechanical triggers like the TM40, the Shocker, any of them now have mechanical triggers as well. I've got an EMEC that my son has. It's a 50 cal EMEC that he decked out as his first gun, and you can convert the 50 cal to regular 68. And
nice.
Yeah, so you're not just like throwing away a gun, you just put in new internals. So that's of course another good thing is like you don't just jump right into getting blasted by 20-something-year-old people on a speedball field. You can play 50 cal, you can play rec, and then you can kind of jump into speedball. There's a much more clear transition into tournament paintball now than there used to be. But all of the guns have mech frames, which is great.
Yeah, that once they start doing that became a requirement for me. Like it has to have a mech frame or a mech frame coming if I'm going to touch it.
That makes sense. Speaking of the Mounds field, though, I don't know how long you've stayed around after World Cup ends, but someone could start a pod company with the amount of pods that were left on the Mounds field after World Cup. Hundreds.
Yeah, I lost a couple.
They're out there still, maybe, because there were so many. I was serious. I was like, dude, do we have enough room in the truck? We could just fill the whole back of the truck up with pods. It was crazy. There were so many.
But yeah, you got to drive. Well, now you can get the lids for them too from Gen X.
Yeah, that's true.
You got any rituals before you play that like you got to do, or a piece of equipment you got to wear?
I always wear, I will say 95+% of the time, I wear something cheetah print. So I don't know if I call it a ritual. My biggest paintball ritual is I only shoot black and gold guns. So 4 tournaments, I only shoot black and gold guns. Just
nice.
It's what I like to shoot. I like the colorway. Classy.
My main gun is black and gold, so I approve.
Yes. Good for you. I got a custom, it's a 1-of-1 Shocker era, which is it's almost like it's like a topographical pattern, but it's really thick and it's gold and black. And it looks like a character from Camp Laszlo. The pattern is like a giraffe, and there's a character on Camp Laszlo called Nina. So I named my primary paintball gun, Nina.
Nice.
After that character. So yeah, but I love black and gold. All my guns are black and gold with the exception of the TM40, which was a Notorious team gun.
Those are cool though to have, a little memento, if you will.
I think now that Notorious has moved on, is that gun considered ag?
It'll definitely go up in value. Give it a year or two and someone's going to want it.
Yeah. Maybe Notorious when they reform as Notorious again.
They can always rebrand later.
Yeah, they probably will. So
I didn't realize I knew they were bringing on the Tauntaun guys, like the bulk of them, but I didn't realize they had cut everyone. But one Notorious player to do it.
They have, so of Austin Notorious US NXL, there's only one left. They do have Diego and Jero, who are from the FSU line, which was NXLE or NXL Europe.
Okay.
So they do have those guys with them, but the majority of that team is Tauntauns.
Are they maintaining their European league or European pro spot?
They are, Axel is playing with someone else, and I think Tauntauns rebranded.
Yeah. But didn't FSU have a European spot too?
They do still have a European spot. I don't know if they plan on playing Europe or not.
Okay. If someone came up to you and said, hey, I really want to get into this, what's the one piece of advice you'd give them?
Join Havoc Paintball? No, I would say if it ever starts to feel like something more than a hobby, find a different group to play with. Because I see a lot of teams that take this super serious, not knocking them. Like, you can be serious about it. It's great to be serious. But at the end of the day, for 95% of all people who play paintball or greater, this is a hobby. It's an organized hobby, and it is meant to be fun. So if you're not having fun or you're not enjoying where you're at, find people who you like having fun with and stick with them. Hold on to them like you want to marry them. Like, don't let them go, because it's such a great sport with friends. And so you got to keep those people close to you. That would be my advice. They can find 1.5 million YouTube videos, somebody way more articulate and pretty than me, explaining how guns shoot and the best gear and the latest thing you have to have in this colorway. And oh my God, how many pods can it shoot at a 32-degree day in northern Michigan, or wherever they're at. And so you'll find 1 million YouTube videos about that. But what you won't find is, where do I find friends to play with? When you find them, you have found where you belong. Like, stick with them. Even if you guys suck at first, stick it out. You'll get better. Get better together.
Yeah, you can get better together. That's for sure. And I heard somewhere, and I can't remember where, so it might not be true, but only 20% of people who enroll in tournaments will end up winning one.
That's believable.
So enjoy the journey. And if you aren't, make some changes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anyone can shoot anyone at paintball. I mean, I've been shot by everybody. I've shot people who I didn't feel like I should shoot. Like, that person is way better than me, but I got them off the break. Anybody can shoot anybody any given day. If you can find a group that you click with, just stick with it. You guys will do good. But there's a lot of team bouncing in paintball here and there. And I mean, look at the NXL this year. I know this is all about divisional paintball. And in divisional paintball, it's as pervasive or even worse than NXL paintball.
I think it's way worse sometimes.
It's got to be way worse. You think, I don't know how many moves happen in divisional paintball. We'd need ChatGPT to help us with that.
Yeah. It would be interesting to track the semi-pro moves at least.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy how many people move around between teams. And I get it. Like, if you're not clicking there and that's not your people, find your people. But if you do, find your people and you like them, just stay.
That's a great lead into, what's your favorite paintball memory?
My favorite paintball memory is, I have my favorite recent paintball memory, which is probably all time, and that's just playing with my son. So there's no better thing than going out there and teaching him paintball. Like, he played his first 5-on-5 match here 2 weeks ago, lined up on the box, probably got like 1 million different emotions going through his head. Like, oh crap, this is going to hurt. He kept asking me. So I know this was going through his dad. Dad, what bunker are you going to? Are you going to be near me? Like, yeah, dude, I'm going to be near you. Coincidentally, him and I both got shot off the break. So I was really close to him on the sideline. So, but it's pretty cool. So that's my favorite paintball memory. It's just him getting interested. He was really interested, and we were playing 50 cal a bunch, and then he got shot, and it was not good. He didn't like it, and he was actually playing on a field next to a speedball field and got shot from the speedball field. And he was like, what the heck, and he's, little eyes are welling up with tears. He's like, I don't want to do this. So he took a little bit of a hiatus, like 6 months. And then he asked me, Dad, can I play now? It's like, all right, yeah, you're ready to go. Let's roll. And he went out and he played 5-man. And the same gentleman who turned me on to Shockers, Brad Bourne, his son Talon plays. Talon he's like 15 or 16 years old. And him and Mason did drills for like an hour. I was like, easy killer. Like, paint is not that cheap. So he's just out there ripping ropes at inanimate objects. But that definitely, seeing him at the field, watching him get interested is my favorite paintball memory.
So how old was he when you introduced him to it? Like when he first started playing?
9.
9.
He was 9 turning 10, and now he's 11 turning 12, and he just got him into 50 cal rec first. That's the way to go.
Yeah, because I got a 10-year-old at home. We don't have a great 50 cal scene here, unfortunately. But he's starting to show interest, so I don't know if I want to bring him in yet or just hold him off one more year here.
Have you done the gel blasters and all that?
Yeah, we got bunkers in the backyard. We got a fleet of gel blasters. So we run around out there. He's got my old grills goggle that fits a smaller head really well. So yeah, we've been doing that. Just not quite sure he's ready for the step up to 58.
I think it's a big leap. It's a big leap. And if I were to give a recommendation, it would be hold off. Mason is 11. He's going to be 12. And he's like now showing interest. He's ready to go back even after playing his first 5-on-5. He played against a bunch of D5 guys in like another throw together squad at the field. They did pretty good, actually. Like he was holding a lane. He knew how to do it. So he's big enough now to hold the gun up. That was another thing. I got the HK. It's like a 36 tank. It's super tiny. And he's just ripping a shocker. So he's got a shocker and a little HK tank and a Virtue Spire 5. And he fits him pretty good, actually, at being 11. He's not super tall for his age. So, but that wouldn't have fit him a year ago.
Yeah. So you go around to all the fields. Who's the team to look out for from Texas and semi-pro this year?
Semi-pro. So I just saw that Shut Up We're Trying picked up one of the former Austin Notorious players. And I think that there's somebody to contend with. Tight-knit group up there. They play a lot of paintball and they're serious. I don't follow the semi-pro that much, to be candid. But if they are making the jump up to semi-pro, definitely them. I think Texas Titans are also trying to make the jump, if I recall correctly. I'm not certain about that either. Those are the two really big teams that are making moves for sure.
You got a favorite drill you like to do, either during practices or during the week?
I like situational drills, as when we're all together. I mean, you can do snap shooting drills at home, whatever. Those are great too, and crucial even. But my favorite drill is situational drill down bodies. So, you start with 3 people in a bunker versus 5 people. You can have 2 people at the corners and 1 person in the middle, right? Or 1 in the snake or 1 on the Dorito side. Doesn't matter, but you have 2 key positions and those 5 guys have to go and eliminate the 3. It's surprising how difficult that is to do, even when you know there's only 3. And so you kind of feel like in the 3, you expect to die. Like you expect that you're going to get shot. It's interesting how hard it is to get those 3 people out. So that's probably my favorite type of drills, just situational down body drills versus full bodies, whether it's 2 or 3 or 4, maybe you're just down 1. I like the starting in key bunkers and then the other 5 just go. I mean, you know where they are. You have to go get them out. People usually stay crossed and you got to go dig them out. That's my favorite drill.
Can be hard to beat the cross.
It's really hard. Yep, it's hard.
So where did the team name Havoc come from?
Just like everything else, we voted on it. Yep. We had a list of really good and awful names. Candidly, most of the awful ones came from me. And the good ones came from everybody else. So we put it to a vote. We had a bunch of logo, different designs, put that to a vote, and came up with Maxt Havoc. So
I like the purple and gold.
Thank you. Yeah, that's nice. That's actually a lot of our guys are big purple. They have purple guns, purple masks. They're real into the purple. So
nice. So how much do you guys practice? Like, what's the practice schedule? Is it 2 weeks before a event or is it every other week?
We play almost every week. So in official organized 2-day practices, we're going to do at least once a month. That's Saturday, Sundays, grinding days with our coach leading. That's happening every month. But we play every weekend. And like tomorrow, 4 guys are going out and playing at X Factor. The rest of everybody has family plans and or work, but we have a scrimmage on Sunday. So even those people who aren't playing Saturday are then going to be at the scrimmage. So we play every weekend, and we're usually scrimmaging and drilling on those weekends.
Nice. How is it like setting drills there? Like, do you just go out to the field and take it up, or do they set one up for drill?
There's stuff all over the outside of the field, little targets and such, and you just go out on the field and run your drills. It's usually pretty easy, especially late in the day, once everybody's shot all their paint and they're ready to go home because they're tired or hungry, or it's hot because it's Texas. Later in the day is like prime drill time. Even the afternoon, like late afternoon, like 5 or 6, is premium drill time on the fields.
You mentioned a coach. So you got a coach for the season?
We do. So our coach is Jared Sherman. He's a pro player from Austin, Notorious, based out of here in Austin.
Okay.
He coached us several events. Him and Marky Franz both coached our line over the past 2 to 3 years. We really like Jared's attitude. He's like an analytical guy. He calculates all the different things, and he's a scouter. And we just click with him. He's a dude's dude. You know, he's great. So we get along with him well. We see him every weekend. He practices a lot out of X Factor. He's one of the people who is just always there. You're like, oh, there's Jared. Let's hop on with Jared, you know? And he knows us, and he's been our coach before and led us to wins before.
Nice. So there's history there and trust, which is the big thing.
Trust. He's a great guy.
So will he be going to the national events and coaching too, or?
No, he won't be going to our national. He still is searching for a team. As far as I know, maybe he has one already and I'm just not privy to it. But as far as I know, he's still searching for a pro team because he's also a player. And he could commit to USXBL, but we didn't think it was fair if he's also trying to play pro to try and go and take him away from NXLs as well. It's just too difficult to balance that. So there's a field in Northwest Texas called Elite. They actually have a team that plays in USXBL, and they're very good. A gentleman out of there named Chris is our coach for NXL for the full season.
Well, that'll be nice so you don't have to be player coached.
Yes, that doesn't always work the best.
No.
It's so hard, man.
It can, but it is hard.
It's really hard. It's really difficult.
Yeah, I have done it too many times to want to do it.
Just get a dedicated coach. And we talked about advice for new players. And advice for a new team is get a coach. Get a coach. Pay them what they think is fair for their time. Sometimes that's not monetary, right? Sometimes they just want a case of to play some points with you. Like whatever you can do to support getting a coach full time, do it. It is game changing. It's having someone who knows your players, what works well in what situations, and can call a play is really important. And also, don't blame the coach. Like, if the coach makes a bad play, okay, talk, but don't blame, right? No blame and shame, and just don't do that. And that's really important. But coaches are crucial, and Jared's going to do a really good job with us. Chris is going to do a great job with us. Chris took the bull by the horns. He's already organizing things for NXL. Payment is made. We're getting, entries paid. Both entries are paid for, that's the other thing. Jared coordinated the scrimmage for us. Chris is aligning all the things for NXL Tampa. And so just having them in there is awesome. It's great because they're helping, right? They want to help. They want to be there. So accept the help and trust your coach.
That leads into another question I like to ask. Do you guys do dues or is it pay as you go?
I've heard of dues. I think it sounds like you mean like a monthly subscription to be a part of the paintball.
Yeah, essentially. That may or may not cover different things.
No, we don't do that. It's real transparent with us. Airbnb divided by 9, entry divided by 9. It's like we have only 9 people. We'll only have 9 people. We won't have 10. We won't have 11. We won't have 8. We have 9 people. And so it's always the same. We just divide everything up evenly. There's no monthly dues. In fact, we try and figure out how we can, maximize the old tournament paint. Or, we're trying to figure out how to keep our focus this year, at least for Havoc, is making paintball affordable so that we can play more. We want to play more paintball. So to do that, we have to make it economically feasible. I mentioned 2 younger gentlemen who are playing with us. They're in different positions. We've got our team is very eclectic. And so we're trying to make it affordable for everybody. We all have families. This is, again, a hobby, a really great hobby. My favorite hobby. It's a hobby. You got to make it affordable so that you can shoot more. Shoot as much paint as you can, play as much as you can, get as much time with your team as you can. To do that, you have to make it cost effective. So that's our main focus for this year, doing anything we can to make it cost effective.
Love it. Let's talk about the Media Pro 360. That's like a really cool thing. How did you decide you wanted to get into live streaming those things?
I've been live streaming forever. I play a lot of golf. Actually, my whole background is golf. So this is my work office. But my whole office is golf. And I have a YouTube channel called Weekend Golf Guy. And I play online against other people all over the world on my golf simulator. And so I started streaming, doing that a long time ago. Like before simulators could connect and talk to each other and it was like gaming, I was doing live streaming. And I got into it doing that. And then for work, I also do some streaming stuff like outside of Media Pros. I have a real job that, I have to attend to, and I really enjoy creating videos and using technology to make videos cool. Like I love live video. It's the most badass thing. And edited is cool too. That's like its own gift, telling a story through multiple pieces of media pieced together and like creating this overarching and epic story that ends in glory or defeat. And I love that too. I don't have that knack. I can't edit. I suck at it. So in lieu of sucking at editing and getting better at it, I just kind of stuck with live video. And I love the technology behind it. So it came from passion. And then each hobby that I've done, whether it's golf, whether it's paintball, anything, or even sporting events for my son, for family, I do live streaming. And yeah, I'm a technology geek. So it's just cool.
So are you doing commentary on the live stream?
I do. Actually, Jesse Stevens and I did the last, what's called SAT3, San Antonio, Texas 3v3 series. Jesse Stevens and I commentated on that for 8 hours, which was really fun, very insightful. We got to see some awesome moves, got to see some crazy stuff, and some like really good paintball for D6 and D5 players. You're like, holy crap, that was a big-headed move that they just did there. You see a 1-on-3, it was really cool. So I get to commentate and with a pro, which is,
Yeah, I bet you get to learn a lot just sitting there talking.
Definitely. Yep.
Well, what's the craziest move you've seen made while commentating?
I saw the craziest move while commentating. So I did my 2 live streams that I've done so far for paintball related content were the Joust, which is In the Pits podcast, hosted a 1-on-1, essentially like a duel or joust with 2 teams of 20 people battling it out, 1-on-1 battles, just back to back to back to back. It was intense. We had Marcelo there coaching. We had Matt Fuzzy Jackson was the other coach, and they're coaching these team of 20, throw together people, and that was pretty cool. But there wasn't like any crazy moves, right? It's just kind of 1-on-1 over and over and over, and good shots, snapshots, drop shots, kind of moving, and somebody didn't see you. For the 3v3, the coolest move was there was this guy who was shooting like Kentucky left, holding the gun right, shooting out with this. Yeah, he was doing that. He was killing people. He was just like killing everybody. He'd be like, he would trip going into the snake. He'd somehow make it into the snake. He didn't come around snake 1 and shoot outside and wrap and then go. Like Jesse's like, wrap and go, wrap and go, wrap and go. I could probably make a really cool video about Jesse just saying that so many times, like get up the snake, wrap and go. But again, back to the editing, can't do it. So we let it live live. And but this one guy was just killing people left, right-handed. And that was the coolest thing. Over and over. He couldn't get shot. He wasn't getting shot. He was standing over the snake beam, sitting up like a gopher, shooting people left, right-handed. That was the coolest thing. That was the most fun. It wasn't like a crazy move. He just had a crazy style, and it worked for him. So no judgment.
Hey, if it's working, keep rocking.
Yeah, he was doing great. I hope to see him back at the next SAT 3v3. I hope to see everybody out there playing again. It's so much fun to watch them, and all the commentary comes from a place of fun. It's like not mean or mean-spirited. Like we were really enjoying watching them play. They do a great job.
It's awesome. It's a cool little nuance into paintball that you get there.
It's fun. You get to meet so many people. Paintball is about people, right? The P in paintball is for people, as far as I'm concerned. And they're just like, you can stay in your own little team and your own little clique at your own little field. Or you could meet a ton of people like you, right? And we can connect and talk about old guns and times past and family and things like that. That's what's so cool about this sport. So if you're willing to try and go out and meet people, it's there for you. And just these 3v3 tournaments and some of the local tournaments is the way to do that. You meet so many people, many of who will become, your friends for life.
Yeah. I've met a lot of my close friends through paintball. So
it's funny how that works.
Yeah, it is funny how that works. Something about it. Oh man, we're at like almost an hour 20, which is where I'm trying to like keep them. So rattle off the sponsors one more time and we'll close it out and just got to hang out for a little bit while it uploads.
So Maxt Sportswear is our main sponsor. You can visit maxsportswear.com or you can reach out to me at travis@maxsportswear.com if you're interested in jerseys, custom jerseys, pants, and soft goods. Great company. That's our primary sponsor. We are their factory team. Our next sponsor is X Factor Paintball Park in San Antonio, Texas. 3 fields for speedball and a ton of recreational fun. Really great talent out there and a great place to grow your game. And then, of course, Media Pros 365, which is my live streaming company helping bring paintball out to YouTube. You can find us on YouTube at Media Pros 365, also on Facebook or MediaPros365.
Thanks for tuning in to the Planet Paintball podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Whether you're out there grinding in the divisional pits or chasing dreams on the pro stage, remember, it's all about the passion, the hustle, and the love for the sport. Shout out to 1023 Sportswear for sponsoring the show. Don't forget to use code PlanetPaintball at checkout for 20% off your order. Gear up, save big. Until next time, keep grinding, keep growing, and we'll see you back here on the Planet Paintball podcast